Before today's video, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest videos. If you want to see a case or topic covered by Paranormally Listed, then go to criminallylisted.com and fill out the questionnaire under the Suggest a Case tab. Number 3. Gulliver's Kingdom. Kamakusuki is a village in Japan, at the foot of Mount Fuji, and it is famous for a disturbing reason. In the early 1990s, it was home to a doomsday cult called Shirikyo, who later changed their name to Aleph. They are most famous for the March 1995 Tokyo subway sarin attack. During morning rush hour on March 20th, 1995, 5 members of the cult released the nerve agent sarin gas on 5 lines in the Tokyo metro. 13 people were killed and 5,500 people were injured. They made the sarin gas in their compound in Kamakusuki. The group's leader, Shoko Azahara, launched the attack because he became aware that the police were going to raid his cult's compound on March 22nd. He was hoping the March 20th attack would distract the police and they would not raid the compound. He also hoped it would start the end of the world, which he believed was imminent, or inside World War III. Ashihara and 200 cult members were arrested at their facility in Kamakusuki. Ashihara was sentenced to death and he was hanged in 2018 at age 63. Besides being home to a murderous doomsday cult, Kamakusuki was home to a haunted amusement park. Gulliver's Kingdom was constructed in the mid-1990s with government funds. It is supposed to stimulate the local economy and provide jobs to area residents. Gulliver's Kingdom officially opened in 1997. The theme for the park was odd. It's based on the 1926 book Gulliver's Travels by English writer Jonathan Swift. Although most of the novel is about the main character, Lemieux Gulliver, visiting strange lands, much of the park resembled a pastel-colored 18th century English village. The park's most famous landmark was the 147-foot statue of a tied-down Gulliver, which is a famous scene from the book. A major downside of Gulliver's Kingdom was that it did not have many rides. It did have a bobsled and luge track, but children were not allowed on it. The park was an utter failure. It had low attendance and it lost money. Another major problem for the park was its location. Not only was it home to a murderous doomsday cult, it's also near the Aokigahara Forest. It's known as the Suicide Forest because it's one of the most common places in the world where people go to take their lives. Next to San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge, it has the highest suicide rates in the world. It's estimated that yearly 30 to 100 people die in the forest. But the public is not really sure, as Japanese officials do not release stats on deaths in the forest. Another problem was that the cult had a nerve gas production facility on their property. After the cult was arrested, residents said they could smell lingering chemicals from the processing plant in the air, which is not an ideal environment for a family-friendly theme park. The surrounding area only hampered the theme park's popularity. Many guests said they had an uneasy feeling as they walked around the park. In 2001, after being open for 4 years, Gulliver's Kingdom closed. It lay abandoned for several years. Then, urban explorers, known in Japan as haikyos, broke into the park to photograph the rotting attractions. They found creepy remnants of the park, including the giant Gulliver statue. Many of these explorers claimed that the park was haunted. When explorers entered the park at night, they felt like they were being watched. In other cases, explorers could see shadows moving out of the corner of their eyes and hear laughter. The local government had the park demolished in 2007. Number 2. Six Flags Over Texas. Six Flags Over Texas opened in 1961 in Arlington, Texas. is the first Six Flags theme park. The name refers to the 6 sovereign countries that controlled all or part of Texas: France, Spain, Mexico, the Confederacy, the United States, and the Republic of Texas. Millions of people have visited the park in the past 6 decades. One ghostly guest has made her presence felt for decades. Her story predates the opening of the park by 40 years. According to locals and the staff, a little girl named Annie haunts the yellow house in front of the Texas Giant roller coaster. People have also seen Annie in the Runaway mountain attraction. Details are vague, but the legend is that a young girl named Annie drowned in a creek where the park currently stands sometime in the 1920s. Many staff and guests have encountered Annie's ghost. She is considered a mischievous spirit, and people do not think she wants to cause harm. Annie plays tricks on staff, such as flickering the lights on and off. A local paranormal group investigated the park. In one of their recordings, they heard a mysterious voice saying, quote, "Let me play with your hair," unquote. Annie's persistent presence in the park proves that some of the biggest thrills don't necessarily come from rides. Number 1. Dorney Park. Allentown, Pennsylvania's Dorney Park has been operating for an impressive 140 years. The theme park was constructed on Lehigh Valley farmland in 1884. One of the oldest attractions in the park is the Antique Carousel. In 2021, it celebrated its 100th anniversary. However, Dorney Park only became home to the carousel in 1995. It was built by the Densell Carousel Company in 1921. For 50 years, it was set up in fairs around America. In 1971, Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, purchased and used the carousel for over 2 decades. Supposedly, the antique carousel is haunted. According to lore, Daniel Muller, one of the men who hand-carved the horses, had a wife who loved to ride the carousel. Miss Muller loved one horse in particular, and she was known to ride it. The horse was later named Muller's Military Horse. After her death, Cedar Point staff would see Mrs. Muller riding the horse and hear organ music playing after the park had closed. Muller's Military Horse mysteriously disappeared when the carousel moved to Dorney Park. What did not go missing was the ghost of Mrs. Muller. People at Dorney Park have seen her ghost riding the carousel while the music plays. But that isn't the only place in Dorney Park that's haunted. In 2021, the park contacted a paranormal investigation team named Ghost Encounters to examine the park for evidence of paranormal activity. The team investigated multiple locations in the park. One location is the oldest building on the property, a storage barn built in the 1700s. While scouring the barn with their EVP detectors, they heard unexplained noises and a voice. When one of the photographers was asked to take photos, an ethereal voice is heard saying, quote, "Take one," unquote. Then the camera malfunctioned. Other cameras were used, and as the photos were being taken, they heard a voice say, "Hi." The team's second stop was the Crypt, a storage building for the park's Halloween costumes and decor. The Crypt was originally a bowling alley and arcade. Dorney Park staff claims items go missing from the building as if someone's playing a trick on them. Ghost Encounters photographer took some photos of the room. When she examined the pictures, she saw unexplained shadows in the frame. The team also got strong readings on their K2 EMF machine, which measures electromagnetic energy. Some paranormal researchers believe that ghosts make their presence known in electromagnetic fields. Ghost Encounters were able to make contact with something. When they asked if they should say, their EVP recorded a voice saying, "Mad." Then the team asked if they could retake their picture. Their EVP picked up a voice saying, quote, "You can have it," unquote. The team then moved on to Walnut Grove, an alley under the Thunderbird roller coaster, known for strong paranormal activity. At Walnut Grove, the team felt a presence around them. They claimed that they could feel sudden cool breezes brushing up against their legs and the backs of their necks. They picked up EVP recordings of a creepy voice. The EVP heard a voice saying, quote, "Hi, I'm walking," unquote. Ghost Encounters then used a spirit box which scans radio frequencies for ghostly voices. After a few moments of coaxing the spirit to talk, they picked up a voice on the spirit box that said, "Dorney Park." The infamous antique carousel was the next stop on the Ghost Encounters investigation. The team thoroughly checked the area for paranormal activity, but oddly enough, the team found little evidence of it at the carousel. The team then moved on to the park's bed and breakfast. The mini hotel has a female spirit who is known to touch male guests on the back. Guests have also gotten whiffs of unexplained perfume in the air. The team picked up high electromagnetic readings on their K2 readers at the bed and breakfast, indicating there may be a ghostly entity who haunts the bed and breakfast. Staff members say they have experienced the most paranormal activity at the park's communication center. So that was Ghost Encounters' last stop in the park. Staff members said that lights flicker inexplicably and security cameras mysteriously turn off. Ghost Encounters set up laser projections in one of the rooms. After they reviewed the footage, they spotted orbs flickering in the frame. Also, a tape dispenser on the desk seemed to move on its own. Ghost Encounters concluded that Dorney Park was steeped in paranormal activity. Unlike some amusement parks, Dorney Park embraced their supernatural guests. They've written blogs about the antique carousel and promoted the Ghost Encounters investigation on their website. This adds to the appeal of their Halloween-themed attractions that run from September to October. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. If you did find it interesting, please make sure you subscribe. We'll have a new video about the paranormal every week. If you just discovered this channel, please make sure you check out our other channel, Criminally Listed. We have over 325 videos featuring bizarre but true crime stories. You can find it at youtube.com/criminallylisted. We also have a podcast about cold cases that were eventually solved called Criminally Listed Presents Into the Killing. You can find it on Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon Music, and anywhere you find great podcasts. But that's all for today. Thanks again for watching.